After the success of The Winter Soldier, Marvel immediately signed the Russo brothers on board for a third film, adapting the famous Civil War storyline from the comics. This wasn't the initial plan, however, as the writers had originally wanted to write a smaller scale movie about Steve and Sam going after Bucky, which wouldn't have featured the other Avengers at all, until Kevin Feige suggested they adapt the Civil War storyline so they could incorporate more characters.
I know, ooh, gross, but hear me out.
The brothers said that they wanted the movie to play like a psychological thriller, citing Seven, Fargo, and The Godfather as influences, but also wanted it to have a somewhat lighter tone compared to Winter Soldier, with more comedic moments throughout. Because when you think lighter tone, you think Seven.
Go to hell.
The Russos were also keen to introduce both Black Panther and Spider-Man into the mix, before they would eventually get their own solo movies. Because Marvel just can't get enough characters in these films.
They deserve it.
But the original script placed much more emphasis on the latter, with Black Panther taking a much smaller role. However, due to Sony still holding onto the rights to Spider-Man at this time, it seemed unlikely that he could even be used, resulting in Black Panther's role being beefed up. By the time they did get the approval to use Spider-Man, Black Panther had become so integral to the story that it was decided that his role would be left as it was, and Spider-Man was given a smaller part instead.
He's saying it's our fault?
When casting the friendly neighborhood web slinger, Marvel politely asked Andrew Garfield, nah, just kidding, they didn't even ask him. They wanted to cast a much younger actor that would be closer to the age of Peter Parker in the comics. Many actors auditioned, including Nat Wolff, Asa Butterfield, Timothée Chalamet, Matt Lintz, Charlie Plummer, and Dylan O'Brien, before Tom Holland nabbed the job due to his dancing and gymnastics background, and because he performed well in a chemistry reading with Robert Downey Jr., and the fact that he's about 7 years old and I think he goes to school with my daughter. However, a problem resurfaced regarding Robert Downey Jr.'s involvement. Tony Stark originally had a much smaller role, but Downey pushed for more screen time and a bigger payday. Marvel CEO Ike Perlmutter was so furious about this that he ordered Tony to be completely written out of the MCU altogether. Kevin Feige pushed to keep him on board, and Perlmutter eventually backed off.
All of your projects have just been approved and funded.
I mean, it would have been a bit weird if Iron Man just randomly vanished completely. Probably explains why Downey just looked so fed up for the first half of the film though.
Such a pleasure.
Filming began in April 2015 and lasted until that September, and Captain America Civil War was released on May the 6th, 2016. You know the drill by now, it was a huge hit, smashing $1.1 billion at the box office, and was highly praised for the performances, action scenes, and emotional weight. And though it was incredibly well received, some nerdy virgins out there had gripes because, shock horror, it didn't follow the source material. The whole setup of the film is that the Avengers have actually caused a lot more damage than good. Yeah, apparently saving the fucking world numerous times isn't good enough. Some casualties outweigh the good, I guess. To be fair, this part is directly from the comics. But in the movie, the government give them the ultimatum to either be babysat by them or they have to quit. Not sure what the government would ever be able to do to stop them if they just ignored their orders and continued to do it anyway, but shh!
That won't be pretty.
But not everyone agrees to this. Some feel it's still worth doing to save people, while others just don't trust the government, which causes the main conflict of the movie. But in the comics, this was actually S.H.I.E.L.D's idea and not the government's. In the original stories, they also wanted to reveal the superheroes' secret identities to the public. But, well, the MCU already threw secret identities down the shitter anyway, so it was kind of pointless including that. The comics also included about 84 million other characters to this dilemma, such as the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, Doctor Strange, Hank Pym's Ant-Man, the Punisher, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, Daredevil, the Watcher, and Goliath, to name a few. In the comics, another Avenger actually dies in battle, causing Spider-Man to switch to Captain America's side, whereas in the film, he's just Tony Stark's bitch.
Yes.
The comic also included Iron Man's team recruiting several other supervillains to help his side, such as Venom, Bullseye, Taskmaster, and the Green Goblin. They would even create a clone of Thor to fight for them. Are we even sure Tony's a good guy in the comics?
I'm very sorry.
There's a character called Zemo who just sounds like a teenage hipster trying to sound cool.
My name is Zemo.
And he is the first MCU villain to not actually have any superpowers or a superpowered weapon, so that is pretty cool.
It's not easy.
But in the movie, Zemo is the mastermind who actually turns the Avengers against each other, which was new. And they even included his family being killed off in Age of Ultron, because apparently nobody in these movies is allowed to have a damn family alive!
Guaranteed.
But then there's other parts taken straight from the comic books, such as Tony actually agreeing with the government after he's confronted by one of the victims' mothers, and the battle between them stopping when someone from Tony's team is badly injured. injured. Although the movie has it be Rhodey, when in the comic it was Goliath, so it was still changed.
Always.
It is pretty awesome seeing Wanda officially joining the team, even if we still can't call her Scarlet Witch. But they kick all kinds of ass! She even saves Cap's life, it's pretty badass. There is a lot of character development right off the bat though, as it comes with a price, and she immediately realises that she has saved her friend but ended up causing more casualties elsewhere.
It's my fault.
That's not true.
Well, it is. It is quite literally all her fault. Natasha is as awesome as always. She literally gets kidnapped and thrown a grenade and still manages to take on 2 men and walk out unscathed. Not a big fan of the shaky cam, but thankfully it doesn't litter the film too much. I don't like this simulation, man. Something about Robert Downey Jr. without a beard just seems wrong in so many ways. When Tony meets the mother, you do feel that he has a lot of remorse for it. It's weird that I really didn't like him in his first 2 films, but by now you do sense that he's gone through a massive journey and is a completely different guy. His arc is now probably my favourite of all of them. Naturally, he's still blaming himself for creating Ultron, he blames himself for what he's put Pepper through, and because Gwyneth Paltrow's been busy a lot, he broke up with her. But it really does come across as a completely broken man now. He ends up making a truce with Cap, but then he finds out that Bucky was brainwashed and killed his parents, because of course he fucking did! Except he only seems to care about his mum for some reason.
He killed my mom.
What did his dad ever do to him?
You seriously think I'm gonna listen to you?
The acting is incredible, and it is a nice tie-in for him to relate to Black Panther. Tony's just lost everything at this point, so he feels he has nothing left to lose.
He's my friend. So was I.
The movie ends with him saying Cap doesn't deserve the shield anymore as his father made it. There's a lot of sympathy for this character as he returns to the HQ and Rhodey seems to be all he has left now. It is quite emotional as they're shown the destruction from the previous films. I do love the dilemma of the whole movie, and it makes for a very interesting and real believable conflict.
I'm trying to keep you from tearing the Avengers apart.
You did that when you signed.
Cap has to go to Peggy's funeral, which is also quite moving. The film definitely has a lot of heart in it. Bucky is framed for the attack that ended up killing Black Panther's father. For the love of God, I just want a superhero with a happy family life, man. Is that too much to ask for? Anyway, you feel for Cap as he's forever going to blame himself for not stopping him when he had the chance. He's also somehow recognised from a distance by someone who doesn't shout out or call for help or anything, based on the world's blurriest CCTV image in a newspaper. But we find out Bucky is innocent, so Cap tries to protect him, which obviously incriminates himself further. It's an interesting character change from the last movie. It is a bit bullshit that he's able to get past all of these officers though. Then again, of course they only attack one by one. It's an interesting setup as Cap is prohibited from helping out as he hasn't signed the agreement with the government. So he's having to go against his usual motif of always obeying the rules. Even if he and Natasha still won't just get together already. Forget Banner, he's not around and he didn't want you anyway. His neighbour Sharon, played by Emily Van Camp, is adorable. Okay, I'll take it back, Cap. Get with her, not Natasha. Ah, very good. But I want to know what the hell kind of steroids they put in him to which he can pull a fucking helicopter and keep it grounded. The amazing thing is, this was real. No CGI needed. Chris Evans actually did this. Jesus Christ!
What did you say?
Bucky gets away at one point and gets jumped, and at first you naturally assume it's Cap, but nope! It is Black Panther, and it is a pretty cool moment. Apparently once your father dies in this universe, your immediate solution is to just whack on a skin-tight outfit and go kick his ass.
I didn't kill your father.
Then why did you run?
Well, you were trying to kill him. But it turns out Bucky wasn't the only Winter Soldier. The other one is Henry Cavill. Wait, that's not Henry Cavill? Well, shit.
I don't want to talk about it.
But how does Cap know how to drive a modern day car? We get more of Cap and Bucky bonding again, which is nice, and he even ends up relating to the bad guy with some really clever throwbacks.
I'm here because I made a promise.
And as funny as it is to have all of this intense action and then cut to Vision cooking, what the hell have they done to Vision? This guy could stop the entire conflict in like 10 seconds. Then again, so could Wanda, but for some reason they struggle. Vision was such a big part of Age of Ultron, and now he's the Avengers fucking chef. It's weird because this character in this is identical to Lorne from Angel, but Whedon had nothing to do with this one. How strange.
There's no decision-making process here.
He tries to keep Wanda inside and she decides to leave anyway, but Jesus, a bit of an overkill there, love. All you had to do was stop him and walk out of the door. No need to turn him into a fucking crater. Oh, love is in the air. This guy opens a box that clearly shows a damn bomb and the idiot just casually stands and points like an idiot. But here's a question. How the hell does Falcon never get hospitalized or killed? He's just a normal human being. Just look at the shit he goes through. And he just gets straight back up like nothing even happened. Tom Holland is pretty great as Spider-Man. His American accent is really good. It just feels weird when I'm so used to his real one. Not sure why his hot aunt from that Adam Sandler film doesn't question it when a random rich middle-aged man locks himself in an underage nephew's room with him anyway, but alright. The two do have some pretty funny chemistry as Peter is desperately trying to be taken seriously as a superhero, but he's just a young nerd, while Tony practically plays his embarrassing uncle.
Can you even see in these?
Yes, I can't. Look, I can't go to Germany.
Why?
I got homework.
I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that.
And this was another case of the fans being fickle and saying this was the only accurate portrayal and the last two were crap, even though they loved them when they came out. But to be fair, Tom Holland is fucking hilarious.
Well, I could have stuck the landing a little better. It's just a new suit. Wait, it's nothing, Mr. Stark. It's perfect. Thank you. You have a metal arm? That is awesome, dude. You ever seen that really old movie? Empire Strikes Back?
Jesus, Tony, how old is this guy?
Despite his spider sense being on vacation, I don't know, maybe he's stressed. It worked 5 seconds earlier. To be fair, despite Black Panther and Spider-Man both being introduced in this film, they don't actually feel rushed or shoehorned in my opinion. It all feels natural and well developed. I mean, sometimes it doesn't feel like a Captain America movie and more like an Avengers film, but it's not really an issue. All in all, the characters work.
Guess I should have knocked.
Oh fuck, he's back. What do you want?
What are you doing here?
Disappointing my kids.
And the audience.
I'm Clint.
I don't care.
But hey, Ant-Man being a nerdy fanboy will never not be funny.
I'm shaking your hand too long. Wow, this is awesome. Captain America. I know you too. You're great. Hank Pym always said you never can trust a Stark.
Who are you?
Come on, man.
And the pettiness is hilarious.
Can you move your seat up?
No.
The big fight with all of the heroes is fucking awesome! It's such a varied mix of different characters, and we didn't even need to wait for another Avengers movie to see it. I mean, I kinda wish they weeded it up with a one-shot, but it is still pretty good. But hey, first, Paul Rudd ripped off Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and now they're ripping off Honey, I Blew Up the Kid. So logically, to continue the pattern, the next Ant-Man film, everyone should get shrunk. Nah, they wouldn't do that, that's just stupid. Whoa! I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty sick watching everyone try to take down the giant Ant-Man. But to prove to the government that the Avengers don't cause destruction, violence, and death everywhere they go, Vision destroys a building. Gotcha. But hey, he Luke Skywalkered him! Now have this shot for the poster. But how the hell does Tony survive this neck trauma, even in the suit? This film is another jackpot. The conflict is real, the acting is great. I'm not a fan of what they did with Vision, but overall it's a great story to be told, and whether it was accurate to the comics or not, I think is irrelevant. It's a damn good film. Yeah, I mean, we're on a roll here. Most of these have been sick. It's not going to get fucked up, right?